Extreme fear is trending on X right now. Does that mark the bottom? I have something very interesting that I want to share with you guys, a chart that could potentially help you make better decisions in this market moving forward. I also want to talk about Bitcoin and what's going on with the price action, the short term and the long term, because the chart is saying a whole ton of information if you ask me. I also want to talk about ChatGPT because it has some very interesting things to say about the crypto market before the year is over. Trust me when I say this is a video you do not want to miss. But remember, nothing here is financial advice. I could always be wrong. Make sure you guys do on research. But I want to kick things off with this right here. So a poll was taken over on X a couple times. This one right here was from November 5th. So it says, is the crypto bull market over? And 53.8% of people said not yet, and 46.2% of people said yes, that it's over. But the big number here, the winner is more people said that the bull market is not yet over. Now, this same poll was taken again recently, about 17 or 18 hours ago, and the results was completely different. All right, so check this out right here. So is the bull market over? This was taken 18 hours ago, and 54.8% of people said yes. Now, as I was scrolling, I accidentally hit the yes button, but still, majority of people said that the bull market is over. Okay, but again, does this mean that we should go against the crowd? Because one thing that I've learned for this bull cycle is majority of investors are typically wrong. The crowd is typically wrong. And if you had just gone against a crowd, you would have made some great returns in this bull cycle. I mean, when you really think about it, why wasn't everyone screaming the top when Bitcoin was sitting at 126,000? They weren't screaming it. What they were saying was Bitcoin was going to continue to rally to 250,000, 1 million probably by the end of 2025. Like, we were seeing a whole ton of price predictions that was just completely ridiculous, right? Matter of fact, I asked ChatGPT to show me some posts from X during Bitcoin's all-time highs, and this is what it came up with. What I realized is a lot of people actually took down their bull post saying that Bitcoin was reaching $250,000 by the end of 2025, but there were some posts that was still posted that was not removed from X. Right, like for example, this post right here, Bitcoin is casually sitting at 124,000, 150,000 is coming by December. We will see 250,000 by Bitcoin in 2026. Now, that post was from October 5th of this year. Around that time period, most investors was expecting October to be a great month in crypto. It was supposed to be a Uptober, but we didn't get a Uptober. Instead, we got a Wrecktober, right? October was a complete disaster of a month in crypto. It was just a nightmare, right? Same with November. November right now hasn't been the greatest at all as well. But last month, people were saying, okay, October was bad, so November needs to be good. But yeah, November is not looking good whatsoever right now. But maybe we'll get a nice comeback rally in December. You never know. ChatGPT actually has something to say about that, which again, I'm going to pull up a little bit later on in this video. But I want to talk about the fear and greed index, right? So like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the fear and greed index, the extreme fear, was actually trending on X. I think when I started this video, it was no longer trending, but shortly after I did see a lot of people talking about selling. So selling started to trend on X afterwards. So people are completely terrified of this market, but they actually shouldn't be, because there are signs that are showing that this could potentially be the bottom of the market. And I know some of you hear that all the time. You see people talking about bottom, 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 bottom. But I want you guys to really take this in. And again, this could possibly help you make a better informed decision. Okay. So right now, the fear and greed index is sitting at a 10 extreme fear. The last time we were at these levels was around February 27th, 2025. And do you remember what ended up happening around that time period? Bitcoin actually slowly started to form its bottom. I want you guys to take a look at this. So like I said, around February 27th was the last time we saw the fear and greed index sitting at a 10 extreme fear, right? Take a look at this. Okay, Bitcoin around February 27th was somewhere around $80,000. Okay, what it ended up doing was it made a little bit of a bounce, then it came back, retested that level, made a little bit of a bounce, came back, retested around the same 80K level, and then Bitcoin went on to make a new all-time highs. So if you are selling at these levels, know that you could potentially be selling the bottom, because if the same pattern plays out from earlier on in this year, then Bitcoin could potentially be getting ready to take off again within the next month, because from February 27th to about April 8th is when Bitcoin just traded sideways and then took off. So right now is not the time to be panicking and selling at these lows. Right now would be the time where you want to be accumulating, because what I expect to happen is Bitcoin to do something like this right here. So this is quite the similar pattern to what played out last time, right? And then just take off, re-enter these trend lines that I have drawn in, that I have talked about in the past. This rising wedge, which I did say was not a good sign, because Bitcoin was more than likely going to fall below $100,000, could potentially hit $80,000, $75,000 before taking its next leg up, right? But if we come over here and we check this trend line right here, actually if we check this indicator or this moving average, this is the 50-day moving average, what we see is Bitcoin has actually fallen below this 50-day moving average. As you can see right here, this yellow line represents a 50-day moving average, and it hasn't fallen out of this 50-day moving average since 2023. So that's not the greatest sign when you take an overall look at the Bitcoin's price action. That being said, I do believe that Bitcoin did go on this disgusting rally considering its market cap, and this is why we're seeing some nasty corrections along the way. So it is possible that Bitcoin is just temporarily out of the 50-day moving average, but it could re-enter into it before you know it. You just honestly never know. One thing that is for certain, and I tell you guys this all the time if you guys have been following my channel, and that is crypto's moving in the right direction, and certain signs just cannot be ignored. Government backing crypto, all these different countries buying crypto, big money love crypto. When I say crypto, I mainly mean Bitcoin, to be honest, right? But Bitcoin is going to continue to move in the favorable direction over time, but we're going to see nasty corrections on the way, and this is why these altcoins look like they're just bleeding out, and some of them look like they want to fall to like pretty much nothing, but I don't think that's going to happen. This space is just way too large, way too widely, I guess, accepted for any of these coins to really go to zero and you'll get completely wiped out. As long as you know how you're going to approach these things, as long as you have a strategy in place, as long as you buy coins that are completely proven, I think that over time, you're definitely going to be fine. I do not believe that the bear market is here yet. Not yet. I believe that it's a little bit too early for people to be calling bear market. Anytime the price goes down, bear market. Price goes up, bull market. Like we see it all the time. It's getting absolutely ridiculous at this point. But ChatGPT did have something to say before the year is over, like I mentioned earlier. So let's get into that right now. All right. So this is what ChatGPT had to say. New ChatGPT predicts the price of XRP Solana Binance coin by the end of 2025. So it predicts a massive holiday surge for XRP, Solana, and BNB holders, predicting their portfolios could grow significantly between now and Christmas. Some pretty big words there. All right, let's see. XRP. So ChatGPT projects that XRP could climb into the $5 to $10 range before the year concludes, representing a dramatic 330% jump from its current price near $2.33. That would be some pretty nice movements if that were to happen, but do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. What does it have to say about BNB and Solana? Let's see right here. For BNB, it says BNB could reach somewhere around $1,800 by the end of the year, while identifying strong support around $1,000, or recently broke that $1,000 mark. This correlates with BNB's performance from late September onwards. Maxi Doge. All right, what does it have to say about Solana? So after touching $250 in January and falling to nearly $100 in April, Sol now trades around 144, still 51% below its previous all-time high. Technical indicators show the token pushing out of bullish flag pattern now, supporting ChatGPT's year-end optimistic target of $1,000. Now, do I believe any of those price predictions by ChatGPT? Absolutely not. I do not think we're going to see those sorts of levels, but it does somewhat align with what I mentioned earlier on in this video, and that is within the next month or so. I do expect the markets to start to move in a favorable direction because of where the fear and greed index is compared to where it was at the beginning of the year. About a month and a half later, we start to see some upwards movement towards a favorable direction, and Bitcoin start to make a new all-time highs. So it's quite interesting just comparing ChatGPT's takes alongside with what we saw at the end of February for 2025. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Check out a few of the links down below, including BTCC. They've got a $300 USDT giveaway happening right now, but it goes up until November 15th. But anyways, until next time, take care.